Hi, welcome friends. We're going to talk about a topic that I thought about this morning as I was getting ready for work. And that, yes, it has to do with the new rules that are going on in the color horse industry. And so tonight, as Brent and I sit in the barn and do our barn banter, we are going to talk about choices that we're making and maybe changing in breeding our own brood mares. Because as I was sitting there thinking, I have two brood mares that are breeding stocks, and I'm pretty certain one of them carries the W20 gene, because when we've bred her to our homozygous horse, we've gotten excessive white.
Correct. Yeah.
And she's always been a color producer for us.
Yeah.
And so I was going to have her tested to see if she carried the W20 gene to get her advanced so that I knew what my genetics were. And I've been breeding her to only paint stallions. And we have another mare by Too Sleepy to Zip that is a breeding stock that we're pretty certain we had the same thing happen. Breeding her to our homozygous horse, we found that we're getting a lot of white, so we're pretty certain she carries the W20 gene. I was certain that at that point it changed what I was going to breed them to, because I still needed to get regular registry on them so that they could show in all of the regular classes in paint. But as I'm sitting there, I'm like, under the new rules, I don't have to do that. So now I have these two mares, and it doesn't matter if the foal comes out without a hair of white, it's going to be able to show regular registry paint.
It's going to get a show with the colored horses.
Correct.
It will still be a solid horse, but it will get to show.
So it has
with the
full
color.
privileges.
Full privileges. Yep. Yep.
And then we just have to hope that we get enough color for the Pinto Association, to which is the majority of the places that we show, so that if we want to keep that horse for one of our clients, we'll be able to show it in the colored classes Pinto. But it's kind of a game changer with what we're going to do with breeding our horses. So how do you feel about my thoughts, Brent?
Well, it's there's no incentive left to breed for color. A solid horse has the same privileges as the colored horse, just as you mentioned. And so, our breeding program is always based on breeding for quality and hope for color. And 20 some years ago, we took that gamble out of it when we had Gentlemen's and Roses. And so we get color and quality, and that's worked out real well for us. But the objective is always to produce a better individual, or a good solid horse, and improve the breed. I've bred colored horses all my life. I've had Palominos, buckskins, and for the last 35 years or so been in the paints. And it's always a gamble whether you got color or not. But now that gamble, if you're going to show, that gamble has been removed, not just greatly reduced. You don't need to breed for color anymore, because you get all the same privileges as a colored horse. And for me, I've thought about this a lot. I've read a lot of the Facebook posts, and it's really disappointing to me that we've lost our trademark. The trademark has no value anymore. That white does not count, and allows you to compete with a colored horse. And for me, that's really disappointing. And I think we're gambling with the future of APHA or of the American paint horse. The analogy I always use is, you don't need to see Ford written on a truck if you see the blue oval. That is their brand, and white was our brand. Now we don't need that anymore. There's no need for DNA testing. There's no, we don't, it doesn't make any difference if they have W20, W35, any of the genes that produce or carry the genetics to produce white. You can breed, if it comes out solid, you get all the privileges, as I've said. So it's going to change how we do a couple things. Some of our mares will be bred to our double registered stallion.
And we bought him specifically because we have hand chosen and kept back several homozygous Gentlemen's Son Roses mares. And when he became available, because of his pedigree, and he has an incredible pedigree, he hasn't been able to be shown, but he's by invitation only, was the AQHA leading sire for years, and he's out of a mare that has produced over $160,000 worth of NSBA money earners, and he's an incredible horse. But we bought him specifically so that we could breed him to our homozygous mares. And now with the new rule, does it make sense for us to take some of our breeding stocks and breed them to him to see if we are just truly getting better individuals instead of putting a little more security in our pocket of the color behind the equation?
Try to give all of you some confidence that have been customers and have bought colored horses from us, and Tobianos in particular. We're still focused on producing colored horses and colored Tobianos and great-minded horses, and he will the quarter stallion, the double registered, will be bred to the GSR daughters. Charlie, GSR's son, will be bred to the quarters and the breeding stocks, and we will still breed for color there. We do have a couple double registered mares that we will, because of market and because of business sense, not emotions, but for business wise, we will be producing some double registers by our double registered stud by Easy. So don't think that we're jumping on the bandwagon. No, color's not important anymore. Color for us is very important, and thanks to many of you that will be watching this or have talked to us and contacted us that still want color, we're still going to be breeding and producing color. So don't be misled by what we're talking about. We are going to diversify and have some potential solids and or double registered horses, because we are in the breeding business and in the horse business. But color is still really important it's the foundation, has been for nearly 30 years of our breeding program, and we're not going to abandon it. I do believe that there will be a lot of people now that don't have to worry about color, that will be breeding for a good horse. I think there's a lot of people understand that, but color's no longer important, so therefore they'll just breed to the best horse they can without regard of color. And
that takes me to being a colored horse stallion owner.
Yeah.
We're really fortunate. We learned to do this. We do everything in-house. We collect the studs. We have a band of brood mares of our own, and we have a double registered stud, and we have a homozygous stud. So our overhead costs of keeping just our single registered stud is covered by the fact that we know we're going to have marketable foals. Who I feel sorry for are the people that have the single registered paint stud horses that are standing them out at another facility, so they're paying a monthly fee and paying somebody to stand their stud. And if they don't breed their own mares, what is going to be the incentive for people to breed to those single registered studs.
There's a greatly reduced incentive, if any incentive, because color doesn't matter. They can breed to a quarter horse, they can breed their paint mare to a quarter horse, they can breed their double registered back to a quarter horse, and whether they get color or not is inconsequential. So I really feel that the new rule APHA has passed, allowing solids to show with the colors, is going to be a huge detriment to the paint horse stallion owner, and it's going to, from my point of view, this is only going to help quarter horse stallions and quarter horse breeders much more than it's going to help a true paint breeder breeding for color or the single registered paint stud and stallion owner. And time will tell. We'll see how this plays out, but I'm grateful that we have a homozygous stallion, that we're going to get color and people are going to still want to buy their foals. You know, when we started in this, you've been in this much longer than I have, but 30 years, you know, I can always remember, you know, different people saying that the paint, yeah, I think even APHA had maybe an ad to this effect, that we were this sports model of horses, and now we're just like every other horse, and we'll see how that works. Yeah.
But it is making a big change, and it just dawned on me that anymore, as long as the pedigree's there, the genetics are not as important in the selections that we make. We just are hoping that we're breeding the right bloodlines to the right bloodlines. And as a breeder, that's the smart thing to do. But those of us that were in the colored horse industry, we wanted to add a little different element to it by adding that bit of color and the bit of difference to the foals that we produced.
Yep.
So we'll wait and see how this all falls out, but this is our little bit of what we were thinking about this morning and we thought we'd share with you. It's our barn banter. If you like this, we're going to do more. So we ask that you like and subscribe to this so that you can see more videos of this type of discussions that are coming from more than a few years of being in this industry.
Yeah.
Thanks. Have a good evening.